I will be formally introducing Ms. Jess Hoffman, Ms. Nakia Henderson, and Ms. Ariel Bain, and they will be a part of our panel, Cyber Game Changers, Women Who Lead, Secure, and Inspire. This session highlights real stories from women making waves in the field, offering lessons on career building, mentorship, and creating resilient and inclusive networks. Thank you all for attending. Please join me in welcoming this talk.
So we're here today. We're a fun, dynamic group of ladies here to share our stories and what we are defining as our keys to success and changing the game, right? The cyber game. We all have different backgrounds and have all come from different walks of life. However, we still have ended up here at this moment with you all. And so our goals is to share stories that are to be inspirational, to let you know like some of the pitfalls and challenges we've learned along the way just by being women in this field, and give you guys some motivation and also some tools that you can put in your tool chest to, one, continue shattering stereotypes, two, continuing to excel in your cybersecurity professions and journeys, and three, just kick ass, right? Like, that's what we're here to do. And so with that, I'm going to hand it over to Ariel, and then we'll circle back to Jess, and we'll get started.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. I'm Ariel Bain. So I have two hats. I am CISA's Region 3 Chief of Cybersecurity. So in that role, I cover, Jess loves me, and I love her for this. But in that role, I cover 5 states and also DC. And so I have a team of teams, 4 direct reports, and about 12 right now, folks that are deployed. And what they do is they go out and do everything from cyber preparedness, risk mitigation, to incident response and incident coordination. So everything in between, if you could think of, they're doing it. And it's a multidisciplinary team where there's not just advisors, there's also technical folks who can provide analysis and also do some of the hands on the keyboard work for us. We're going out to critical infrastructure owners and operators. So when you think of that, think of things that are so important to our nation that if we don't have them, that there will be grave impacts. So that's loss of life, that's healthcare, that's our energy sectors, that's our banks. We're going out to them every single day and ensuring that they are cyber resilient, meaning that they can bounce back when there's an attack, because we know there's going to happen. Another thing I want to say about my mission and kind of why I'm so productive and why I love what I do is because we're a voluntary agency right now. So everything that I'm doing, like, stakeholders want to work with me. So that's my little intro, but you'll learn along the way some of the ways that I got here in this GS-15 role.
I didn't know we were giving like real creds. I got real stuff. Hi everybody, good evening, good afternoon. Jess Hoffman here. City of Philadelphia. I don't know what's going on actually. I'm just here. I love you guys. I joined in. No, everything's amazing.
Jess is filling in. Should give the disclaimer. We kind of put her on the spot, but that's okay because we all have each other's back. And Jess has a very unique story. So you see a blended level of talent on the stage. Some of us fell into cybersecurity and IT traditionally. Some of us did not. Some of us came by different paths and walks of life. And today we have, a deputy CISO. We have a GS-15. We have a GS-14. We have supervisory. We have executives all represented on this panel, and so there are different ways for you to be successful, but there are different ways for you to find your callings and things that you love to do. So we're going to tell you how we got here. Let's go to Jess's slide first. We scoured Jess's social media to come up with her career roadmap and how she got here. She has no idea this is happening, but this is just past to changing the game. So Jess, if you could talk about.
Hi, amazing. I've never had anybody make a slide road path for me. I love you. Look at you guys. Oh wow, so yeah, education. I got a traditional college. I don't know if I'd recommend that these days though, but school's good. Continuous learning's great. I also teach at Penn State we are and stuff. Temple on the way. Certs, I only have one cert because I don't really like to take tests. I felt like that was appropriate for me, so anybody who wants to go get all the million certs, I'd say think about that. Make sure that it's appropriate for you, for your roadmap that maybe someday somebody will make for you. Experience. Yeah, I work for the City of Philadelphia, go Birds. I mean, I know there's 2 at least in here. 3, yeah, thank you. There's Go Birds. Y'all gotta leave now. Exit the building. Whatever. Who won the Super Bowl last year? Oh, there's more. I just heard there's more. Okay, yes. Philly's actually pretty fucking awesome. I'm having a great time. I got some team here. I won't call them out because they hate it what I do, but they're in the back. People look. We do great shit at the city. I mean, I know Nakia and Ariel. I mean, we all work together, honestly, if not directly, indirectly. And, it's amazing. I'm really honored to be here with these amazing women. But yeah, Philly is super dope. We do all the things. And next year, 250th anniversary of the country is going to be in Philly. Who goes to Philly? Y'all like Philly? You're welcome. What else we have? World Cup's coming. I see your face, girl, back there. World Cup's coming. We got the World Series next year. SEPTA's going on strike. We just went on strike. Y'all see the garbage pails. Fun fact, Philadelphia, ever heard that? It's from the last strike 30 years ago. 40 years ago, excuse me, because the trash kept piling up. We got problems, not like LA though. Okay, anyway, I'm a podcast host too. You know how I did that? This is a cool story. I got on this podcast called Sister Stories Podcast, and it was a white dude. No shade, whatever. I like white people. It was a white dude, older dude. He was interviewing people, and he interviewed me, and I looked back at all his prior guests, and there was like, out of 100 guests, there was like 15 women. Out of 100 guests, there was like 5 black people, and like 4 Indians. I mean, it was just, you know what I mean? It was just, so I said to the producers, I said, how many women podcasters do you have? And they said 0. I said, how many people of color? They said 0. I said, when you're ready to get serious, let me know. And you know what? Like a year and a half later, they were like, are you interested? So I said, I'll do it, but I'm gonna tell you right now, we breaking this mold. And I've had a lot of awesome, that's actually how I got to be Thought Gooden this year, because I interviewed, Tim Ball, who's an Asian extraordinaire cybersecurity gentleman. And I was like, yo, I want to be on SOC team. So I'm SOC Gooden, so I gotta run early because I gotta go work.
So before you run, and
I'm rambling, I'm sorry.
over the course of your career, what can you say? Yes, what can you say has helped you get to the level of being, a deputy CISO of a whole city? You came from education, teaching background. You came into cyber. What were your keys to success?
Great question. I honestly would say manifestation. I knew I wanted to be a CISO, but I took a break. I was with the federal government for 7 years, and I felt like it was during the Obama administration, during the Affordable Health Care Act, so it was very political controversy with that, the Obamacare, Medicare, Marketplace, and I just felt like I wasn't getting anywhere, and I was like, you know what do I really want to do? So I took a pause and was teaching and stuff, and I felt like I had more to give from a leadership perspective, so I was like, I'm gonna be a CISO, and I got rejected all the time. And then I got rejected, but Philly gave me a chance, so, but I really enjoy this role because I have a great team, and I'm able to share with them, and they share with me, and we're doing a noble cause. So federal service, or government service rather, is really important to me as a public servant. And I've been in private industry as well. I did that for like 8 years in an auditor. So I left the feds, went to private, came back, and that gave me a tremendous new perspective, what it means to be a trusted advisor, exceed client expectations, show up, the industry, okay, being here with you all today. Like, sometimes that's forgotten, and that's really important. Community is so important. But I would share like my top 3 things I tell you right now is volunteer for everything. Second thing, imposter syndrome is real. I was just talking to a young lady next door, And she said something to that effect. I said, I've been having imposter syndrome and anxiety every day this week. I didn't have it yet today, but it's coming. I know it is. And that's okay. That's okay. And the third thing I'd say is, who knows where your road path is going to lead? I mean, there's a million ways to get to CISO if that's what you want to do, or a million ways to get to pen test, a million ways to be a SOC analyst, a million ways to be a writer, an artist, whatever you want to do, agriculture, whatever you want to do, AI extraordinaire, like there's a million ways to get there. We're sharing our stories to give you some, idea of what we did and how we got there, but your story is totally different. So I guess that ties in the second thing, but this is just our roadmap and we're sharing.
I want to piggyback on two things Jess said, because me and her have had conversations about this. One, the art of manifestation and kind of what it looked like for me, and then also how it helps with imposter syndrome. So one of the things, like when I talk about manifestation, it's kind of like, it's that law of attraction people say, right? But there's true activities that you can do, anyone can do to really kind of cultivate and shape what their career will look like. One thing as we talk about manifestation is start with the end in mind. I think a lot of folks, right, there's this overabundance of information out there on cybersecurity, and we tend to get lost and we tend to change routes. You may pivot from that end goal that you have in mind, but just start somewhere. So then what you can fill in is the gap. You can do a gap skills analysis to figure out what you actually need to do, right? The true tangible things that you need to do, not theoretical, but the things that you need to do to get there. And then along the way, right, is you're practicing acting as if you're already doing that. And what that allows you to do is to see, one, it lessens the impact of imposter syndrome because you already know how it feels. You already acting like it. You already wearing the role. You already talking like it. And so when you get in these rooms, it's like, I felt that experience before, right? And then another thing about it is it also shows you what you don't like. Like you might be like, oh, I want to be a programmer. I might want to be a pen tester. But then you realize like you're not working with people or you're an individual contributor. And you're like, these activities are not for me. So it can also keep you from the activities of or going into a role that you're really just going to hate. And so I think me getting this leadership role, I truly put a lot of and we could talk more about this, but I truly put in a lot of different activities to make sure that I was ready. Because what is a blessing if you get there and you feel like you're overwhelmed? It's no blessing at all. So.
You want to do your roadmap?
Oh, I can do my roadmap.
Let's put your roadmap and how you got here.
She's a big deal, y'all.
She always gives me my flowers. I swear, like I love this, and this is like you gotta have this like for you, for real, because I'll be down on myself, and she's always there to pick me up. I deal with imposter syndrome myself, so my background is a little bit different, very different actually. So I went to a HBCU to start. I went to Spelman College, and I got a bachelor's degree there, and then I did a dual degree engineering program, which took me to the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. And I got a bachelor's degree and also in computer engineering. So from that school, I actually got something called a SMART scholarship, where I had to work for the federal government for at least, I think it was like 2 years before I could move on. So I was already discouraged because though they gave me and paid for school, all my friends came out of college making like 75, 90,000, and here I go in Boston making what it says on paper is 44K, right? But then after you take those deductibles out, we know it's not nothing. So it was discouraging to have to work for the federal government, and I started as a GS7. I was also doing something I didn't like. I was hired as a systems engineer. Systems engineering is not for me. It's really a paper pusher when you're in the federal government. So I was resourceful, and I think that all of you should be. I think the way of getting into cyber has changed a lot. It's not just submitting your resumes, because even with myself, like, it's not working. The ATS systems are kicking me out even before I can get to someone. So being resourceful and reaching out and having touch points and going to network events made that difference for me. So I got my first job in cyber by getting a mentor, and literally a week after me having a conversation with him, I had a job in cyber, and it went up from there. And that's also why I give back to folks, because it's like, you afforded me this opportunity with no experience. So that's kind of how I got into cyber. And then from that, like some of my experience, I've been in the federal government now for 13 years. Started as a GS7, went all the way up to a GS15. Now I did have to work my way and leave what no longer served me. So I did go through different agencies. I started at the Hanscom Air Force Base, DOD, loved it, family environment, but it was too far away from home after I had my son, and I was a single parent, still am. And then I went to the Federal Trade Commission, learned a lot of skills there. but I felt like I was pigeonholed and I couldn't really, climb the ladder. So I went to the Food and Drug Administration. I was a watch officer in our SOC knock. And I got so many insights on different tools. Like I was hands-on. I'm like, yo, like I can go anywhere with this experience now because I was seeing a lot of stuff firsthand. And then now I'm in this role at CISA where I started as a cybersecurity advisor, went to a supervisory cybersecurity advisor, and now the chief of cybersecurity for the entire team. So that's kind of, where I'm at. And I always get asked like what my future goals are. And, if y'all heard me speak before, it's changed. Like I'm truly no longer looking to make the sacrifices of climbing the ladder. Like I'm looking for remote positions. I'm looking to potentially diversify my experience by going to the private sector. But my focus right now is truly like building a family. Like moving around and stuff, like it didn't lend me to get married, it didn't lend me to have more children. So that's kind of what I want to focus on and just giving back to folks.
Thank you. Thank you for just being so human. So both of you have mentioned the concept of...
It's a big deal, too. Don't like it twisted.
Just a little bit. Both of you have mentioned imposter syndrome, right? And overcoming it or dealing with it just today. Just by show of hands in the audience, because we're very interactive, how many of you have dealt with imposter syndrome, right? We all have. So it's a shared feeling that we all get. But what has been some of your mechanisms to overcome that, either in the moment, respectively looking back, over the years and touting yourself, or just what would you tell the audience and all of us today is the best for that? And
I think I have a lot of things. I'll start with community. Like me realizing that I wasn't alone and having talks with people just helped overall. Like we could just talk about our issues and it was kind of just like, ooh, I needed this. Like I just needed that vent session. That really truly helps. But you have to have the community. So, y'all are all here. So it shows that, you're building communities, you're cultivating them. So I say that's the first step. And then another thing that is an unpopular opinion that I did was I worked with my supervisor and I told him how I felt and I continuously asked for feedback because that validated what I was feeling. Sometimes I might have felt like, yo, I'm not doing enough. And then he'll be like, Ariel, you're tripping. And sometimes it's just that person to say like, you're doing enough. Because it's validation to, against what you're actually feeling. And then I would say, another thing is you're going to fail. Like you got the reality of this is you're going to deal with incidents, you're going to deal with 0-day vulnerabilities, you're going to deal with challenges. And so you have to have a level of personal resilience. And what that looks like is just know that you're going to fail sometimes and build up, your skill sets, personal skill sets to bounce back. It's just what it is.
I always say fail fast, fail hard, and bounce back.
A level of personal resilience. I'm gonna steal that. That was good. Yes, girl. What was the question? I'm just playing. Yes. Yeah, and also board of directors too. And I think I got coined at Boardwalk Bikes. I said you need gang. You got gang of mentors. Okay, you don't have just one mentor, right? You have a gang. Because everybody gives you something in some way. And I really like what you said about sometimes it's just good to know that you don't like it. You hate it. You don't want to do it again, right? That is equally important. So, I mentioned earlier about having imposter syndrome like every day. I honestly haven't had it yet today, but it's coming. I know it is. How do I deal with that? Well, knowing that it's coming is good. I'm bracing myself. Knowing that I ain't gonna let it ruin my day, knowing that I'm here for a reason, right? Nakia asked me to come up here because she believes in me. Right? But for real, you get hired for a position, you get a task, you get a project, you have an incident, you have a situation, whatever. Somebody believes in that you can handle it. So, believe in yourself, I guess would be the response to that. And it's okay to fail. It's okay to fail. Yeah, it is, It
is okay to fail and failure. We learn what worked, we learn what didn't work. But the key is to just bounce back up and bounce harder. So my story is definitely non-traditional. I kind of just stumbled into cyber, stumbled into IT, stumbled into the federal government. But originally from California, Fresno, a little small town in the valley. Yes, I'm a Fresno girl. And ended up moving to to the East Coast right after high school. And I actually worked. I got full-time jobs and I worked 2 jobs and went to school part-time. So I went from, little small town to big old East Coast Maryland. I got my bachelor's in business and finance. And then I was very intrigued by cybersecurity. And last year I gave a talk on how I fumbled into cyber. And basically that's what happened. It was, I wanted to go for a higher degree. I ended up getting a master's in cyber policy. And there were 2 things that happened in my life. One was the Edward Snowden deflection and sort of kind of being somewhat close to that situation. And 2, the second thing was there was a hack on a retailer, through an HVAC system. And at the time, I was a building manager. And so I was like, well, if I have to keep my occupants safe, just physically making sure that weapons aren't getting into the buildings or there's no, active shooters running around, or keep them comfortable, are their lights okay, is their their temperature okay, there's it too hot, too cold, all that stuff. I then began to ask, well, how do I keep my IT infrastructure safe? I do a lot of work in the building. I'm getting ready to do a whole bringing in files into the building. Who are my contractors that are coming in the building? Who are my contractors that are going to be here 1, 2 o'clock in the morning when I'm not here? And are they being fully vetted? And that just made me go down the rabbit hole, and I ended up with a master's in cyber policy. And then I am working at the government as well with Ariel. I am like a cyber strategist. I'm a portfolio manager, so I do the strategic implementation on the organizational side of cyber. So it's not the fun stuff. What we don't like, I hate to code. I'm extremely dyslexic, so you will not get me in front of a keyboard trying to code because I hate spending hours trying to find my mistake. But at the end of the day, in any organization, you still have to have a strategic approach to it, and you have to have a strategic outline of where you're trying to take your company or organization. And that's where my superpower and my super skill comes in, being able to take what Ariel does in the field, with her team and working with stakeholders and making sure that we're all on the same page responding to a cyber threat, and kind of what Jess does and, the deputy CISO's role, being able to see the entire IT infrastructure for a state. Now I'm taking all that information. How do we operationalize that? How do we make sure we have the people in the right places? How do we make sure we have the money and the funding in the right places? Because if we don't have the money and the funding and the people, how do we really be able to accomplish our missions? So kind of boring behind the scenes, behind the desk, lots of, meetings and so forth like that. But it gives me purpose to know that I'm still in some shape, form, or fashion protecting myself and everyone that's included. So, yes, please go ahead.
So Nakia brings up a really good point. And I met Nakia, this is even before she started working at CISA. This was 2 Black girls, the only ones there at the MSI SAT conference, like in probably about maybe 4 years ago. Yeah. And we just connected, and then she was at GSA then, and then came over to CISA. So we've been connected since then. But one of the things, as we talk about just cybersecurity and the skills you need, remember that cybersecurity is very diverse and it's in all sectors. I think sometimes people tend to only want to work with the technology companies. And there's so much more. It's in real estate. It's on our medical devices. And I'll give you just some of my recent wins, like that have been out of the scope of kind of just what I do on a day-to-day. One was I actually, when it came to the FIFA Club World Cup games and the FIFA Club Cup games. So there's going to be 5 million, close to 5 million people here in the U.S. next year to support those games. I've actually been taking the lead on ensuring that the cybersecurity advisors across the entire nation are in seats in Miami or Dallas to work directly with FIFA so that they can essentially disseminate information very quickly, respond to requests for information, respond to requests for assistance. That is a big task, right? When you have different 18 host cities, which also Mexico and Canada are in the roles, and they have host cities as well. So you could be in sports. Another thing is during wartime, I was afforded the opportunity to go to Poland, and I was speaking with the Ukrainian government on how cyber defense is here and what they can do. And then the last thing, you just never know the true power of like your capabilities. So I did a webinar. It was supposed to be a small webinar, like only 400 people were supposed to be going. That was tops. It was supposed to be very small. And actually that was our goal. We knew we weren't going to reach it. But PRC, living off the land, you all familiar with that? And like Vault Typhoon actors, and when I say PRC, I mean People's Republic of China. China is after our intellectual data and do a lot of espionage. and then there's differences. But what they do though is, you know, they are invading our cybersecurity defenses. And so I created this webinar where I'm thinking, again, it was going to be very small. I had over close to 1,000 people register for the first one, and then over 600 register for the second one. And the turnout and the feedback was so great. It's like I'm doing things now on a grand scale. We had international partners there, so you just never know like what you can, you know, truly do. And y'all can go on LinkedIn and probably say, hey, I'm giving a threat brief, and just see kind of the audience that you attract, right? That's kind of ways to build up your resume when you don't have experience.
I told y'all she was a big deal. I'm not playing around. Like, that FIFA stuff is real. It is really real because, I mean, you figure you're packing more people into an already packed cities across the country, and different cultures, different mannerisms, characteristics. We have different currency, obviously, language barriers, and everything. So, I mean, Philly's already Philly. So you go bring more people. It's a big deal. So, you know, in all honesty, you know, working for the city, working for the government, you know, we have critical infrastructure. I'm gonna get serious for a second. How many y'all can name how many critical infrastructure sectors has CISA identified? What's the number? Anybody?
13.
What? How many fingers was that? 10? Anybody else? Jesus. Maybe we're the only ones. 16, but we're going on 17 soon because, space, you know. Space. So, yeah. So, you know, most people don't really think about that, and that's fine, right? You guys.
For those that may not know critical infrastructures, what are some of them? You know, so you have your rail, you have your water, you have your gas. Imagine if you couldn't have, like, if the gas was shut off indefinitely, or if all of our utilities, our utility plants were just non-existent. You know, what about your freight, your air, your transportation? You know, not just for us as consumers, but what about to get the supplies and information that we need here? There's a lot of things I think that happen in the background that we just go about our everyday lives and take for granted. You know, we think, oh man, you know, Wi-Fi's down for a few minutes, and like
The world is over.
the world is over. But what happens if there was no power?
They go down every day.
Every day.
Every day.
It's not like physical attacks, right? You hear about bombings, you hear about fires. You don't hear about the cyber attacks. It's almost like it's invisible. But, you know, my team and the national team, all 10 regions, like, we're truly fighting every day. And the incident response that we've been doing has increased dramatically since I started with CISA in 2021. You just don't hear about it.
Yeah. How many of y'all like water? Right. How many of y'all like electricity? You know, how many of y'all like safety, public transportation, our medication, our manufacturing, the food we eat? Well, 911. How can I always forget about public safety? That's awful. It's so awful. We love them too. Okay.
One of the most vulnerable sectors.
Oh my God, old, outdated infrastructure, you name it, we got it. And how do we deal with that? And that's a real situation every day. And I have a fantastic team. We have a fantastic team. And when it comes down to it, you know, circling back to community, to trust, to continuous learning, to empowerment, right? That's what we need to do for our team. So if there are any hiring managers out here as well, you know, I encourage you to diversify your thought process on your hiring, because traditional isn't always the best. Certs are not always the best. Experience, right? So diversification within our workforce has been challenging. I've learned so much because Philly is very diverse and a lot of people. I was about to say an adjective. I guess I could say here, weird. Can I say weird? Is this being recorded? This might not be recorded. I'm just playing. It's all good. I do have to run, but I just want to tell you, can I plug my talk tomorrow? All right, we're having a talk tomorrow, myself and a gentleman. We do this our third year tag team, and it's a lot of fun. So we're doing a workshop tomorrow. I forget the title of it, but it's gonna be great. We're gonna work together to identify different characteristics, different types of stereotypes, people within the workforce of cyber. So, for instance, Asian American, third year here working visa in the SOC, or a queer cis white dude in GRC, or a punk rocker who's 19 in today's society. That one would be weird, huh? I don't. How do we work with these young people? No, it's just, but that's real. So we're gonna kind of talk about it and have some fun. You know what I mean? Like, let's look at other people's perspectives, because at the end of the day, we're here, man, and we're just trying to do what we can do and save the world together. So, thank you very much. You guys have a great time.
Thank you so much. Jess is running. She's working the conference, so if you guys do see her, say hi, give her a high five. You know what I'm saying? Just sanity check. So this is where we sort of kind of open the floor up, kind of put us on the spot to ask us any crazy questions that you can come up with. Yes, sir.
Those government cuts, how is CISA operating? Are they still improving? What's the plan?
So the question for those I couldn't hear, with everything that's going on in the government landscape, how is CISA, our organization, operating? One disclaimer, just so we're putting this out there, even if this may be recorded, we are here in our personal capacities. We are not representing any agencies, but if you did a quick LinkedIn search, you'll know where we work, so it's not like we can keep it a secret. Now, with that, how is our organization, agency, still operating? We're still here, we're still working, and we're still fulfilling the mission of protecting our nation's critical infrastructure and IT infrastructure. We take pride in being, the cybersecurity protector of this nation, and with limited, small but mighty, we are still carrying on that mission.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. I think you echoed it well. We're getting back to the mission of just core critical infrastructure. We have, it's no secret, we've lost contracts. We lost a lot of folks to the different workforce transition programs, but the work is still being done. Yes, it's, harder to do, of course, because it's more limited resources. But I'll tell you, we've all stepped up to fill in those gaps. So the work is still getting done, just maybe at a slower pace. And then, we're hopeful that we're waiting on a confirmation of our director, Mr. Sean Planky. And so we're looking to maybe have him join in September after this recess. And then we'll have some more direction. We'll, understand what our priorities are a little bit closer, and we can have those transparent conversations about the future of CISA. But the work that I'm doing is still being done. Nothing I've been doing has been cut. And also, it's a kind of a saving grace. So the history of CISA, we were developed in 2018 under actually the Trump administration, who's the administration now. So, it's hopeful news, right? Any other questions? I could talk about some skills if, kick off some questions about skills. So, yeah, we could talk about skills, technical skills. We'll talk about technical skills, soft skills.
We're going to talk about skills.
I think skill set changes, right? But one thing I would suggest everyone do is always be a continuous learner. Always go outside of, your day-to-day duties and try to work with other organizations. Be a trainer, train a trainer. That's always good. When you can teach other people, that means you know your stuff. And so by continuous learning, I'll give you a personal experience. One of my deficiencies now is application security, particularly in the space of protecting Kubernetes and containerization. I missed that wave. And let me tell you why I did, because when I got into my new role, I was so focused on understanding that role. And then by the time I was ready to start learning about it, here goes AI, here goes this next thing, right? Here goes quantum computing. So it's hard for me now to go back with all these different things. So I always encourage people to be a continuous learner. You don't have to know everything, right? But you got to know a little bit about everything. You just got to know a little bit about everything, because it'll take you far. Everything is totally connected. I think the kind of backbone of everything that is cyber is the operating systems, networking, and then also software, right? Understanding how software applications work. So those are my 3 core things that I've focused on early in my career. And I think Jess said it, and Nakia said it too. You don't gotta have all these certifications. Yeah, they put you on the same landscape, right, playing field with everyone because it's a standardized test. But I'm actually got like 5 of them, and I'm ready to not renew them because they have annual fees. They have commitments where you have to pay these continuous education learning points. Get the highest ones, get the ones that actually align with what you're trying to do. That's again why you have to start with the end in mind, because trust me, people are out here just getting whatever certification and it's not aligning to what they're actually doing.
And so I don't have certs, right? And I have 2 degrees, but I will, yeah, that is. I will say that it's not even so much about, oh, Jess came back. See, she missed us. It hasn't, what has been my path to success and has helped me is what we talked about today and what you're doing here at this conference, networking, right? And a lot of my job experiences have come from, one, like she said, manifestation, but me, I said I wanted to have a different career path, and I wanted to, break the mold of what a career in cybersecurity looks like. It's not always a hacker. It's not always like in a hoodie. I thought I would love to be in hoodies all day. You know what I'm saying? In a dark closet. Like, there are other things at play and other career fields that you can take. But networking is key, right? And they always say it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. That's very true. It is about meeting someone at this conference, connecting with them on LinkedIn. After this conference, having that follow-up to say, hey, I met you at DEF CON. Do you think we could have a 30-minute virtual, coffee or tea session? This is my name. This is what I'm trying to do. Do you know anyone in the industry? Do you know anyone that's looking for this type of role? Or just, hey, how are you doing today? I met you at DEF CON. I see that, you work for the government, or I see that you work for industry. Whatever company you're looking at, connect with people that work at that company. Reach out to them. Can you tell me about the culture there? Can you tell me about the mission? What do you like about it? You have, I think a lot of times we get in our own way, but you have the ability to define your destiny. And I don't know if everyone in this room is looking for a career in cyber, if everyone's already employed, if everyone's happily, gainfully employed. But regardless if you're looking for a career or you're just looking for a different, chapter in your life, all I can say is go for it. AI is on the horizon. We didn't even touch AI today. We can go down the rabbit hole of AI, but I would definitely recommend also getting some AI skill sets underneath you. And for those that are in the creative arts, what I'm saying, storytelling and professional writing and presentation is also a very secret sauce that a lot of folks don't understand. Even with DEF CON, there's still a story behind DEF CON. There's still how do they get here? If you're one of those type of people that can take very technical jargon and translate it so that a 5-year-old can understand it, you're gonna go far. And that doesn't even mean you have to be doing the tech or even managing the tech. You just have to be able to understand the tech. And your human to human skills, at the end of the day, don't forget that we're all human. Give people grace, but there's always someone that's behind that keyboard. Until, there isn't, and Armageddon is here, and, then that's a whole nother story, but yeah.
And then I guess I'll go over to soft skills or interpersonal skills, which are my favorite. I hire more people off of, are you going to be a good fit for my team, and overall the technical capabilities. And the reason why is because you can teach the technology. And in fact, you probably have to teach the technology because most organizations use their own proprietary, systems, or they have it set up a way where you're just going to have to go through the SOPs and learn it and work with the folks. So some of the skills that we don't hear about that I think are very important are, one, we talked about this personal resilience, but when I talk about that, is I look at it as 2 ways, right? I have these sayings. One, failure is feedback. You're going to fail, so use it as feedback. Use it to enhance whatever capabilities, use it to, change your course of direction, get new skills, but use it as feedback rather than to feel defeated. And then I use another saying, I say, what is it called? Oh, the answer no is a redirection. So we all know, right? And cybersecurity managers, cybersecurity managers get less of a budget than IT and a lot of other divisions within organizations, unless it's a cybersecurity company. And so you'll get a lot of no's, right? You'll have these bright ideas and you'll be like, I cannot believe you're telling me no again. So what you could do with those no's is, sometimes a no is just that redirection on, let me think about this problem in a way that I never thought about it before. Let me figure out and be creative, right? And thinking outside the box of how I can come up with a solution that works. But also with that, a big skill is having discernment. You cannot go to your supervisor in cybersecurity with every single idea that you have, because they will stop listening. I've been in the world where I stopped listening to some of my cybersecurity team because you keep bringing me ideas and it's overloaded. Come with prioritization. Come with your best ideas, because people, yeah, they want you in their office all the time and they want you talking, but come with solutions and the best ideas that you have, because those are the vetted things that you've actually thought through. So those are some of the things that I say like we don't hear enough about.
Yeah.
And then working again on side projects. Like, you don't want to be square. People are not looking for a person that's just in a box. We want to make sure that you're taking initiatives. One of the things that was a discerning factor for me is I automate and I optimize systems. That was something that they could not find anywhere else. So I knew what my unique value proposition is, and I build on that. I actually don't focus as much on fixing my weaknesses rather than strengthening my strengths, because my weakness is going to be there and I'm never going to be great at it. So I focused on continuing to better my strengths so that they could get better. And I chose to do that as automation, orchestration, and optimization of processes. And it's taken me a long way. I mean, I'm coined for that. I've won so many different awards for doing that.
So I know this isn't your typical, tech talk or into the weeds, peeling the hood behind, lifting up the hood and seeing like what's in the engine. But, this is kind of giving you the blueprint of how you can get to the next level in your life and what you're looking to get, not just professionally, but also personally. So we definitely thank you all for coming to our talk. We hope that there's some golden gems that you can take with you, things that maybe you have heard before and it's like coming back, you know what I'm saying? So it's sticking, you're like, okay, let me employ that. Or just, a different perspective on coming and transitioning into the tech field, right? Like you can see being here, everyone is supportive. As you walk around DEF CON, everyone is supportive. You know what I'm saying? This is a very accepting community, and we want to do good stuff. We want to do good works, and this is a community where we can find where our passions, I like to say, meet our paychecks, and we sail into the sunset. And with that, I just want to say thank you, Nakia Henderson, and I'll let Ariel say any closing remarks.
Closing remarks. I think it goes back to just networking. Just make sure you're networking. I think the majority of opportunities that I have had and been afforded have been from someone else. Nakia, anytime she has a talk, or there's WeSys, whether it's with Big, she's like, I want you to be on my panel. Jess has done the same thing. Like, she brings different stakeholders to me. I can say that for a lot of the folks that I work with. They truly keep you in mind when the relationship isn't transactional. So making sure that when you build these relationships, don't make it forced. Don't always ask for stuff. Sometimes ask them what they need. You never know. Even though a person is your mentor, they might need you. They might need some feedback on something. They might need you to read a paper. They might want you to work with somebody else. So always, as you network, keep in mind that there are ways that where you're at, even if you're early in your cybersecurity career, you're just starting out, you can add value to somebody's life. That's it. Thank you all.